How's it going, everybody? Zach here, and we're going to do a quick forecast discussion on the developing system out in the Caribbean. I'm going to test my audio, make sure everybody can hear me. How's it going, everybody? And you can. Sweet. So if you're new to my YouTube channel, I'm Zach. We're going to be doing a quick forecast discussion, normally doing these during significant events, and this is one of them. Hurricane Melissa is intensifying very quickly in the Caribbean and is pushing west, and will eventually make that weird turn to the north you can see in front of me. I'll kind of explain the layout that I have right now. So obviously you have me at the top left of your screen. Below me is the current satellite image of Hurricane Melissa with that beautiful eye wall. I mean, it is a solid, very, very dominant eye wall that's ongoing right now. I'm not sure the length across, how wide the eye wall is at the moment, but it is very impressive looking. We'll get into that here in a second. And then below that is the overall rainfall expectations from Hurricane Melissa in the Jamaican island area. So as you can tell, up to 40 inches, potentially up to 40 inches. We're forecasting 30 to 40 inches of rain on the island of Jamaica, which is very, very intense. Lots of rain in a very short amount of time. And then the big picture is the current National Hurricane Center track. You can see the X marks the spot. That's where Melissa currently sits, just south of Kingston, Jamaica. Some of the current vitals for you guys, some of the information regarding that location. Currently, Hurricane Melissa is 110 miles south of Jamaica, more specifically 110 miles south of Kingston, Jamaica. So Kingston, the capital of Jamaica, just 110 miles south of that location. Current sustained wind gusts as of the 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time report. Hurricane Melissa has a sustained wind of 140 miles per hour. That makes it a Category 4 hurricane. Additionally, Hurricane Melissa has wind gusts to 180 miles per hour. So that's kind of that weird thing with hurricanes. It's based on sustained wind gusts versus, like severe thunderstorms where it's not sustained, it's wind gusts that issue the alert. With hurricanes, it's based on sustained. So it's 140 mile per hour sustained Category 4 hurricane. However, it is producing Category 5 wind gusts up to 180 miles per hour. The current pressure is 953 millibars, which is a very strong hurricane. That we do expect that to drop to probably more than the 940s, maybe 930s as well, when it gets that Category 5 strength, which is expected either tonight or tomorrow morning. And it's moving very slow. According to the 11 a.m. update, Melissa is only moving west at 3 miles per hour, so a very, very slow moving hurricane. That is obviously that's going to cause major issues, and that's why I think the rainfall totals might be so high, because when you get a storm that's moving 3 to 5 miles an hour and it's just kind of sitting in the same spot, you can imagine how much rain would accumulate at that point, and that's indicated by that bottom left image there on your screen. Satellite looks very impressive. We'll go ahead and swap over and take a look at the satellite. It is a very impressive looking system this morning. You can see just how impressive that eye is. I'm not sure, like I said earlier, I'm not sure the distance between one side of the eye wall to the other, but a very impressive storm with lots of lightning and thunderstorms developing around it. That's a mean looking hurricane. And when you think hurricanes and you think, catastrophic, very powerful, whatever word you want to use for that hurricane, this is what we look at here. That is a very impressive looking hurricane this morning on satellite. So just take a moment and kind of look at that. Jamaica is the island to the north. It's 110 miles south of the island at the moment. This storm is moving due west at the moment. You can tell just on the satellite that it's moving to the west. Eventually, it's expected to kind of stop and turn north and go straight into Jamaica. So you would think, looking at this, if you're a Jamaican and you're living on the island, you're like, oh, it's moving west. It's going to miss us to the south. Yeah, this isn't like a tornado type of situation where tornadoes typically move one direction, then they die. This is moving due west, and it will eventually turn on its turn signal and go north and go straight into Jamaica. Landfall for Jamaica is expected Tuesday morning. So think of that. It's only 110 miles south of Jamaica, but it's moving so slow, and it's moving the wrong direction, that it actually won't get on land until Tuesday morning. So we still have practically 2 full days before landfall, less than 48 hours now before landfall. So that's pretty crazy. It is expected to become a Category 5 hurricane. The environment itself is rather impressive. Sea surface temperatures are very warm, right? So whenever hurricanes form, you want warm sea surface temperatures, meaning the water is warm. So obviously hurricanes form over water. In this case, it's got a lot of energy to work with. Jamaica is that island just south of Cuba, kind of sitting out there by itself. 30 degrees Celsius water temperatures, which that translates to not good. 30 degrees Celsius or 86 degrees Fahrenheit are the sea surface temperatures right now in that area. So that is extremely warm, creating a very hostile environment. And that is why Hurricane Melissa is rapidly intensifying today and into tomorrow, and then eventually making landfall in Jamaica on Tuesday morning. Very low vertical wind shear as well. The storm is not really battling a lot of wind shear, which is going to allow for that rapid intensification over the next 48 hours. More like the next 24 hours, 48 hours before landfall. To be a Category 5, it has to have a sustained wind gust of 157 miles per hour. So if you didn't know that, you do now. We're at 140. That's sustained winds again. But we are expecting peak wind gusts to reach 195 miles per hour just south of Jamaica. We're not sure if Jamaica will get hit by the Category 5 strength. There is potential that it slightly weakens before making landfall in Jamaica. Hey, Smar, how are you? Hope you guys are doing well out there. Fall is finally here in the Midwest. Very thankful for that. Temperatures aren't 100 degrees anymore. And it's been a very slow hurricane season, but you know what? We're kind of getting back at it, aren't we? It's picking back up a little bit. Very fortunate that the U.S. has not been impacted by hurricanes of any major strength this year. It's been a very quiet season, and it looks like we're going to dodge a bullet this year. I'll go over the NHC track for Melissa. It is not expected to make U.S. landfall. On the screen now is a live shot from the Jamaican government. This is a live shot from Kingston, showing waters really starting to get choppy. The hurricane's only 110 miles offshore, so things get a little rough. I mean, things start to get choppy when the hurricane's over 300 miles out, let alone 110 miles. The only thing that's kind of saving Jamaica at the moment is the fact that the storm is moving due west at 3 miles an hour, but it is moving due west, so waters are going to be a little choppy. However, they're not really pushing inland yet, so storm surge isn't a huge concern right now. It will become a concern when Melissa pushes west and then eventually shifts north tomorrow and then makes landfall Tuesday. So let's switch over to the track that the National Hurricane Center has out. X marks the spot right there above the header. 8 p.m. Monday is expected to start to make that turn. So we're moving west now, but by tonight, by this evening, we are expecting that hurricane to start to turn north and eventually more like northeast. And then by 8 a.m. Tuesday, it's making landfall on the island of Jamaica, eventually pushing north as a major hurricane. So it gets through surfing, gets through Jamaica and eventually stays a major hurricane, probably closer to more of a Category 3 strength at that point, and pushes into Cuba. Hurricane watches are in effect for Cuba, eastern coast of Cuba, and then eventually it speeds up and gets all the way up to Friday, still hurricane strength, and then if that little dot you see at the very top, 8 a.m. Friday, just to the north and the east of the H, That is the island of Bermuda. So Bermuda has been impacted already this year by a hurricane, just not too long ago, like a month ago, if that. And they are currently in the path of Hurricane Melissa. So very interesting developments there for Bermuda. So after it gets through Jamaica, Cuba, it'll push northeast towards Bermuda. But it does stay out to sea, OTS as we call it, and does not make any U.S. Impacts. So that's good news. Going back to this screen, again, you can see the live feed next to my face. That is the live feed from Kingston, Jamaica. And then below me, satellite. Below that is the rainfall. Rainfall is going to be a serious concern. Up to 40 inches of rain. That'll lead to landslides, things of that nature, things that you obviously don't want. Really bad situation. Let's look at some information here that I printed out. See if I can get storm surge. That's one thing we haven't talked about yet. So storm surge is caused by the wind of a hurricane. So what happens is hurricanes, especially on the northeast side of a hurricane where the strongest winds are, that pushes the water up on shore. It's like a tsunami almost, but it's not a tsunami. But it pushes the water onto land. Okay, that's what we get storm surge from. Life-threatening storm surge is expected per the NHC. Forecast surge as of right now, as of 11 a.m. update, is 9 to 13 feet above normal tide levels. So that's a very high amount of storm surge. The highest surge is expected along the southern and eastern coastlines, near and to the right of where the eye makes landfall. So wherever the eye decides to make landfall, which looks to be pretty much south central Jamaica, to the east and to the northeast of that, so the east coast of Jamaica would have the highest risk for that devastating storm surge on Tuesday. Total rainfall 30 to 40 inches, with locally higher amounts forecasting around 30 inches. As you can see at the bottom left of your screen, it says possible up to 40 inches for the eastern portions of the island. That's why we say with locally higher amounts. That will lead to extreme and life-threatening flash flooding for the people of Jamaica, and a high risk of devastating mudslides. That's a big thing too. Landslides will be a concern, especially in the mountainous terrain of Jamaica. So we have to be concerned about landslides and mudslides that will come down onto, villages and stuff like that. And that really doesn't have anything to do with the wind from the hurricane. That's all about rain. The more rain you get, the higher chance of landslides and mudslides. Going back to the current vitals as of 11 a.m. Eastern time, the location of Hurricane Melissa is roughly 110 miles south of Jamaica. It does have wind gusts to sustained wind of 140 miles an hour, which is a Category 4 hurricane, and gusts to 180. It has a central pressure of 953 millibars, and it is moving very slow, west at 3 miles per hour. So a very slow-moving system. It's already producing choppy water and rainfall to Jamaica. So this is a live shot from Kingston, showing the water obviously getting a little more active. Looks to be raining, so it's already starting. I believe tropical storm winds are expected to arrive tonight, maybe tomorrow morning, and then hurricane winds showing up probably late Monday into early Tuesday, with eye wall making landfall on Tuesday morning. There's definitely plenty of ocean fuel. There's very limited shear that kind of restricts hurricanes from gaining strength. Not really a case here. That's why it's forecast to become a Cat 5. Very low vertical wind shear, very high sea surface temperatures. The water is very warm in that area of the Caribbean, and that is why Melissa is able to intensify very quickly. There is a very high confidence that the storm is going to turn north. Um, I know that was kind of a question that a lot of people were having. It was, is it actually going to turn north? Is it going to keep going west? And this was a few days ago. A lot of high confidence models are agreeing a lot more significantly on the overall path. It has the path turning and moving to the northeast and staying away from U.S. landfall. And yeah, so quite the storm system we're dealing with. And I feel really bad for the people of Jamaica. I read somewhere, I'm not sure how accurate this is, so don't quote me, but I read somewhere that this is going to be like the worst storm that Jamaica has seen in about 145 years. So that is a long time. These people aren't really, even though they're located in a very, very, we call that Hurricane Alley. The reason why we call it Hurricane Alley is because hurricanes tend to form south of Haiti and south of the Dominican Republic in that area, and kind of push northwest towards Jamaica, and then they go all the way up towards the Yucatan and Cancun, Mexico area, and then out to the Gulf and into the U.S. Hurricane Alley, it's a very favorite area, but normally they don't reach this level of strength this early. Normally they don't, because the Gulf is typically where the extreme warm waters are, which is the case now, but they don't really get that really strong Cat 4, Cat 5 strength until they get past the Yucatan and Cancun area and then out to the Gulf, where they rapidly intensify and then end up hitting Florida or hitting Louisiana and stuff like that. Looking at recent storms like Hurricane Helene last year, that rapidly intensified in the Gulf as it pushed through that Hurricane Alley area. And, so Jamaica's not, they're not unfamiliar with tropical cyclones, but they are unfamiliar with storms of this magnitude. It's already down to 953 millibars. It already has wind gusts to 175, 180 miles an hour. So it's already a Category 4, and it just became a hurricane last night. So it's 24 hours, and it's already a Cat 4. It's no slowing down at this moment. Nothing to slow it down. So we are expecting the intensity forecast to grow to a Cat 5 as it makes that turn. And if you're looking at the screen, 8 p.m. Monday, right above the header there, south of Jamaica, that's when it's expected to turn north. That 8 p.m. Monday is when it intensifies to a Cat 5, according to the 11 a.m. advisory by the National Hurricane Center. So we're getting there. It's 1 o'clock right now. So we're 24 to 36 hours out. I've seen this happen before where, it's forecasted 8 p.m. Monday, but hurricane hunters get in there, they do their surveillance, and next thing you know, you have a Cat 5 hurricane 12 hours before it was expected to be a Cat 5 hurricane. So I can definitely see that happening, where we have a Cat 5 hurricane before the end of the day. Let's see. Obviously, if you know people in Jamaica, preparation should already be underway. I know that flights were getting canceled. There were some storm chasers that were trying to get down there to intercept. A lot of flights have been canceled already. Nobody's leaving. You can tell me just from the live stream here. We'll switch back over to live cam from Kingston. How intense everything is. How choppy the water is. You can already see the wind gusts are picking up. Things are already getting nasty there. And we're still 2 days out from landfall in Jamaica. So, pretty crazy stuff. But we wanted to come on here, talk about what we got going on in Jamaica. If you have any questions or comments, drop them in the chat. I'm pretty good at answering them. And, we'll kind of wait. We'll probably do a live stream on Tuesday morning. When the storm is making landfall, we'll have this live cam up and several other live cams up and running, so you guys can see what exactly is happening in real time. Again, just kind of going back over the current, vitals of Hurricane Melissa and the current status as of the 11 a.m. advisory from the National Hurricane Center. Location of Hurricane Melissa is about 110 miles south of Kingston, so this is Kingston right here. This is what the hurricane is doing already, and it's 110 miles off coast to the south. Sustained winds of 140 miles per hour with wind gusts to 180. The pressure in the eye is 953 millibars, so that's a pretty strong hurricane. And it's moving very slow west at 3 miles per hour. It is expected to make that right turn and go straight north and eventually northeast into Jamaica by tomorrow morning into tomorrow afternoon. And then making landfall on Tuesday. Satellite image shows a very aggressive hurricane. This is a monster eye of this storm. I mean, that is a very impressive satellite image with a bunch of thunderstorm activity on the backside of it. You can tell it's moving west. It's moving west very slow, and eventually will make that turn to the north. That is a very impressive looking hurricane on satellite. If I, am a hurricane forecaster and I'm looking at that, yeah, it's go time. That is probably the most impressive eye I've seen this season, this hurricane season. Granted, it has been a slow hurricane season, but this is pretty intense. That looks pretty good. To get to a Category 5, we have to have a sustained wind of 157 miles per hour. We're at 140 right now. So Melissa is 17 miles per hour short of a Category 5. It's not going to take much to get that 17. Hurricane hunters will likely go back into the storm today if they're not already in the storm. And they will get back in there and take a look at what she's doing. And then they'll relay that information back to the National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida, who will then update accordingly. The next update is expected in about 50 minutes at the 2 p.m. advisory, where they'll tell us, hey, this is what Melissa is now doing. I do expect Category 5 strength by the end of the day. I'm just guessing. Seen this happen several times. It's not forecast to be a Cat 5 till tomorrow morning, but again, I've seen it do this before, where you send hurricane hunters in there, and next thing you know, boom, you have a Cat 5 hurricane. So, at the bottom left of your screen is the projected rainfall totals from this system, especially in the Jamaican area. A lot more confidence in what the rain is going to do down there now. We'll talk about Cuba later on in later updates. But possibly up to 40 inches of rain on the eastern edge of Jamaica, and then 30 inches by that magenta light pink color, going all the way the entire southeast and eastern coast of Jamaica with 30 inches of rain at least. And then it obviously drops the further west you go. The heaviest rainfall and the highest winds are always on the northeast and the eastern side of the hurricane, of the eye wall. So if we go back into satellite, the strongest part of that hurricane is the eastern edge of that eye wall, which is straight south of Kingston right now. That's a lot of rain. That is a lot of 30 to 40 inches of rain. I can't even imagine where I live when it gets to 6 to 8 inches of rain. It's horrible flooding here, and the fact that this could drop up to 40 inches is just hard to comprehend. It's going to be very, very catastrophic for Jamaica and then parts of Cuba as well, and perhaps even Bermuda as the storm continues off to the north and northeast. We will so I mean that pretty much summarizes the forecast update. The next advisory is expected at 2 p.m. We'll do another video at some point. We will go live for maybe an hour or two when it's making landfall, so we can have a live shot on the camera. But not much really to talk about. That's the update. Again, just one last time, if you guys have any questions, please ask them. As of 11 a.m., Hurricane Melissa is 110 miles south of Kingston. Is a Category 4 hurricane with sustained winds of 140 miles per hour with gusts to 175 to 180. The pressure is 953 millibars and is moving west at 3 miles per hour. It is expected to turn and run north beginning tomorrow, eventually hitting Category 5 strength. Again, we're not sure if it'll remain a Category 5 hurricane as it hits Jamaica. It'll definitely be a Cat 4 probably, but we're unclear as to whether it remains Cat 5 as it goes into Jamaica. That's up for future advisories, which we'll get here at 2 o'clock, and then again at 5, and again at 8. So we'll have several more updates today. Other than that, guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll leave the live camera from Kingston up for a little bit. If you guys have any questions, I will answer in the comments. Until next time.